This is a 350 amp ANL fuse holder. I was sent this to review for free. If you wanted to purchase it, it would cost you about $24. They haven't paid me for my review, and my opinion remains my own. So in the package, you get two 350 amp ANL fuses, and this fuse holder, which has these plastic caps to hold down this kind of protective display thing. And then it has these two bolts for mounting the fuses, and one of the nuts was off when I received it. But essentially, you mount this guy in there, and then you'll have to use a wrench to tighten these down all the way to get good contact. But the bolts are captive, so you don't have to worry about holding the bottom of them. And then you have these two places here where you can put one or more lugs on top of that. And of course, this guy goes down, a little bit of protection on the top. It doesn't really go all the way down. So, if you have some lugs in there, this guy has these little plastic things there that are going to hold this up a little way. So there's, definitely some space in between here. It doesn't go down all the way. But these little plastic acorn nuts hold that in place. You just put those on my hand. Now it does also have two mounting holes here, and it includes two wood screws that are the appropriate size for those mounting holes. So basically you get 350 amp fuse, a spare, and the fuse holder. So this is the type of thing you would put down on a pretty serious, like a DC battery bank. It's a 350 amps is a pretty serious amount of power. So it feels like pretty heavy duty plastic. I don't know the exact makeup of these pieces of metal here. They're very shiny, silver shiny, so I'm assuming they might be tin coated. Alright, magnetically, these guys are just not attracted to the magnet. They say that these studs are stainless steel, and you can see it's slightly attracted to the magnet, but it doesn't really click onto it. So I think that's definitely stainless steel. Now this guy here, it's a metric 10 instead of a metric 8 stud, and it clicks to the magnet a lot more. So I think this is a different type of steel than this guy here. That one I believe is stainless. This one, maybe it's stainless, maybe it's not. They say these guys are copper, and the magnet is not sticking to them. It's also not sticking to these screws, so those screws are probably stainless. So I'm going to have to scratch that to determine if it's copper under that plating. And the nuts here are slightly attracted to the magnet, but not really much, so I'm pretty sure these nuts are stainless. So I took a hand file and filed into the corner of this guy. It doesn't look like copper to me. It's very much a kind of a silvery color in there. Alright, so I unscrewed these little screws here. And it does not want to come off of the plastic base, even with those screws removed. Alright, so I filed into the corner of this pretty heavily, and I'm not seeing any copper inside. So it's not magnetic. I can't get a good feel for the weight with everything else here, but I think that might be aluminum. Maybe it's tinned aluminum, I don't know. So this stud here it won't rotate, but it's not perfectly captive. This guy I can't get off. I've bent it there. It's stuck in here. I think the head of this stud is embedded into the nylon plastic there, so I don't think you can easily get that off. I think these screws here are just kind of extra reinforcements to make sure it doesn't come off, but even when I unscrewed those screws I was not able to get that off. So it's mounted on there pretty solidly. Pretty confident this is stainless steel, these are stainless steel, that might be aluminum. This guy here may or may not be stainless. It's a different magnetic attraction than that guy. So it could be just steel, it might be a different type of stainless, but that I'm pretty darn sure is not copper, unless they have some type of all silver copper. All right, so the construction feels pretty decent. There are no markings here other than 350 amps, so there is no branding, no brand names here. Given that this was claimed to be copper and it doesn't appear to be copper, there's no way I can tell for sure if this really is a 350 amp fuse. It looks like 350 amps would probably blow that thing. It looks pretty thin, but I have no... there's no way I can tell you how accurate those fuses actually are that came with it. This guy seems to be put together pretty well, with the possible exception that the material that it said that was copper sure doesn't appear to be copper to me.